Fallout coffee?
Yeah. So Bones Coffee does very, very good flavored coffee, and I've started making coffee for myself.
Okay. Would you say it's damn fine coffee?
I am actually, in his honor, currently enjoying a slice of pie and a cup of coffee. So
yeah, there you go.
But they released a trio of flavors inspired by the Fallout series, and
oh hell yeah!
Each flavor inspired by the trio of protagonists. So I am currently enjoying Lucy's flavor, which is atomic apple pie. So I'm drinking pie flavored coffee, and it is very good.
Somewhere David Lynch is looking down and smiling at
not
this
a
new
sponsor
innovation. No, no. We're never going to get sponsored again after the last episode. You all realize that, right?
Yeah. Fuck sponsors.
Agreed.
Sponsor this hole. Only holes.
Welcome to Only Hole Analysis.
Just no context.
No, there's none of that.
Abysmii is high on leftist rhetoric and a little bit of vodka. So, all right.
Hey, there we are. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is we are now officially properly in the worst timeline now. Because various people are still alive and David Lynch is dead. That's not cool. So we have to remind everybody. I'd like to remind everybody out there one of the great lines David Lynch penned, which was "Fix your hearts or die."
I've been thinking about that quote a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to say it to certain people, but they wouldn't understand it.
Well, it's like how I would love to, next time someone cuts me off on the road, instead of yelling, "Hey, fuck you," I roll down the window and yell, "May pigs dig up your cemeteries." I would love it.
Oh, someone almost ran through our fucking bike group today.
Oh,
we were 25 people deep.
Oh.
We were at a stoplight. We got the green. We started rolling across, and someone's like, "I'm going to turn left through this giant group of bikes." Like, I understand that in America, no one understands fucking traffic laws and that bikes have a lot of rights. But are you also blind? Like, God damn it.
They're playing Grand Theft Auto is what they're doing. In their mind, they're still there in San Andreas.
I think our special place, San Andreas. Can someone please mash Chef Silent Hill and San Andreas? Pyramid Head pops out. Oh shit!
He sees James off in the distance. Oh shit! Here we go again. Ironically enough, both Grand Theft Auto and Silent Hill 2 were inspired by David Lynch.
They.
Although my favorite David Lynch inspired game is probably still Link's Awakening. Anyway,
hey, Pyramid Head, what do you want? I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, and number 6 with extra dip.
Pyramid Head and the boys roll up, and by the boys I mean just him and the bubble nurses. A Gmod video already exists. That's just that.
Oh, I was going to say, I know you fuckers have ripped these models into Gmod. I know you have it. Just do it.
Yeah. I know what I really need them to rip into any Gmod, though, is just Dr. Satan and Ascot Keen, so I can make them kiss.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, even though we are in the worst timeline, at least we still have Paul Ernst to support us with the antics of socialist hero Dr. Satan.
And weird bird person, Ascot Keen.
We have
capitalist villain.
We have to have an actual discussion about Paul Ernst, I think.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Does Paul know?
Paul's dead.
No. Did Paul know? Sorry.
Paul is dead.
I mean...
He must have.
He made his villain... Not about the gay stuff. I think Paul didn't know, but there was, something repressed.
Paul was his own skeleton in his own closet.
But
maybe.
Paul Ernst, actually anti-capitalist or not?
I mean, I think it could have just been the sentiment of people at the time. You know, like given the Depression and just the now, you know, only visited as of current time levels of wealth inequality. It would be hard not to. Like, there's no way it didn't seep into so many people's art and just, you know, the gestalt. I don't know how it couldn't.
Because he does present, like, we can make all the jokes we want. He does present Dr. Satan as the bad guy.
Yes.
But, like, the counter to that is he does present every billionaire who isn't Ascott Keene as a piece of shit.
Well, even Keene, like, I get it was a different time, and he's supposed to be this kind of average, you know, milquetoast, quote-unquote hero who's just like, I'm also rich, and I have a woman around me, and I am capable. But there's just so little spotlight on Keene that, like, it feels intentional. If I know I'm gonna have a hero too, whatever. But look what Dr. Satan's doing, because it's just so much more interesting. Keene is such a nothing burger half the time.
Oh yeah, really most of what Keene is, we have attributed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had to build Keene's personality. Kind of, he doesn't really have one. If anything, I feel like we've also given a lot of personality to Beatrice. She's just kind of there, but I kind of like the long-suffering Beatrice of our imagination here. If we hypothetically do that, some revival of Dr. Satan in our own creative endeavors, I've been literally in my head thinking of, in the far future, there's a group that's called the Dale Foundation, and they exist to help people recovering from weird crimes and weird accidents, specifically.
I feel like Keene, like Dr. Satan as a series feels like Ernst taking the film noir idea, although this was kind of before that, but like kind of that kind of idea of, you know, here's the protag and he solves crimes or some shit, and just kind of flipping the script where the focus is not on that protag. The protag is Dr. Satan.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's the one we care about. And the rich people who die, it's not like we care about them. They're there to exist to show you the horrificness, but they can't kill anybody we actually like care about, you know?
Well, they have, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah. But the billionaires are like, they're fodder for the most part. Like, I think in the very first one, we had Wallstead kind of built up and that, like, here's his compound, here's his servant, here's this and that and the other thing. Yeah. Most of the billionaires, they stick around for a little bit, but like we don't really get to know them as a character. We don't get to like see anything outside of that. And like, you know, that's kind of the trappings of the genre, but it kind of reinforces our point of like, well, yeah, no, you've made billionaires disposable. That has to be some type of statement. That has to be something.
It's 1935. It absolutely feels like a statement to me. Like, and you know, it's not like they can bring up, I mean, they could, but they don't, what's actually happening in the world at the time.
Oh, by the way, everyone, we're reading part 2 of that Dr. Satan story.
That's true. Like, we are doing that.
But the more you bring it up, like, fodder normally for these types of stories is like low-level street thugs or something, or goons. Yeah. Here, the fodder is literally billionaires and millionaires.
Yeah, they're all people in positions of power. They're people who have excessive wealth or excessive presence. I mean, the other people who have been killed off are, well, okay, to be fair, some there's been some collateral servants. But,
sure.
Other people, like that one guy who got bitten by the bug, you know, Master Millions shaving.
Ascott did nothing about.
Yeah, which further reinforces how we feel about Ascott Keene. But then, like, you know, there are other people like Croy or Corey. No, Croy. Croy was before. Croy, who was just a comedian who was not very funny, apparently. And then, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. The actress who died in Hollywood Horror. But she died because... Yeah.
They're just few and far in between.
Also, that poor girl who blew up in the car along with her date.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah. No, there definitely is collateral, but like the balance is so shifted. Like the focus is on these rich people. Like just first and foremost.
Also, it's an idea that kind of like almost in a weird way, the rich will eat themselves or eat each other because like here's Dr. Satan. He's wealthier than all of these people, at least according to Keen. And he doesn't do it because he has anything to gain. He does it because he just likes to fuck over other millionaires. It's fun for him.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of commendable about that.
I could say something, but we're going to have to censor around it again a lot. So I'm just not gonna. I mean, like, I'll say this. It's not a bad thing in my mind. Like, no. It serves to kind of reinforce certain points. That's all I'll say.
Yes. Okay, good. We will rein it in this time, at least a little bit. Then, though, I feel like from this point onward, the censorship noise has to be the rhino.
Yeah.
If anybody ever listened to Kayla and I's Animusings podcast, it was a habit of mine to replace most swears with Donald Duck, just making garbled noises. So I'm now thinking of this as our Donald Duck. Anyway, part 3 of Horror Insured.
Oh boy!
You want to bite the bullet and start us off, Abysmii?
Yeah.
Not that this is a bad thing. I'm always happy to come back to these stories. I love them so much.
No. Okay, Chapter 3. Stroke and Counterstroke.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck me. The National State Building.
Spell and Counterspell, which proves that one of these bastards is playing blue.
Oh,
sorry, please continue.
The National State Building is situated on a slanting plot in New York City. Oh, actual location. The first floor on the lower side is like a cavern, dark, with practically no light coming in the windows from the canyon of a street. Near the center of that side was an unobtrusive small shop with it's like Lucian, but it's, let's be honest, it's Lucian photographic supplies lettered on it. The window was clean looking, yet it was strangely opaque. Had a person looked at it observantly, he would have noticed with some bewilderment that while nothing seemed to obstruct vision, he still could not see what was going on behind it. But there are few really observant eyes, and in any event, there was nothing about the obscure place to attract attention. At the back of the shop, there was a large room completely sealed against light. On the door was a sign, Developing Room. Inside the light-proof room, the only illumination came from 2 red light bulbs, like and yet strangely unlike the lights used in the... Well, okay, no, but they are red lights.
Yeah.
But they are, but okay. But
Ernst is trying to tell us this is just Dr. Satan's decorating fetish again.
I'm going to have 2 red lights, Keen. No one's thought of this.
I can't have a red light district anywhere else. It might as well be here.
It's going to be the red light back room.
Again, one of my favorite aspects of Dr. Satan is every lair he has is just some place where he put a bunch of curtains up.
Curtains
I'm
and
waiting
red
for
lights.
them to describe the curtains. I want the curtains.
But the activities in the room had nothing to do with developing pictures. In one corner were 2 figures that seemed to have stepped out of a nightmare. One was a monkey-like little man with a hair-covered face from which glinted bright, cruel eyes.
What?
The other was a legless giant who swung his great torso when he moved, on arms as thick as most men's thighs. Both were watching a third figure in the room, more bizarre than either of them.
Wait, no.
Okay,
What?
I think maybe we're one story behind where we thought we were.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So
this is still pre-Gers? This is still pre-Gers passing?
Yep.
Was it Gers or Bostov who died?
No, it was Gers.
Yeah, justice for Gers.
Justice for Gers.
Sure.
I'm glad he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
We get one more ride with him.
Aw. At least we know what to prepare for.
Yeah.
The third figure bent over a bench. It was tall, spare, and draped from throat to ankles. That's okay. In a blood-red robe. Yep, there we go. Red rubber gloves were drawn over its hands. The face was covered by a red mask, which concealed every feature save for the eyes, which were like black live coals peering through the eye holes. A skull cap fitted tightly over the head, and from this, in sardonic imitation of the fiend he pretended to be, were 2 projections like horns. Pass.
Dr. Satan stared broodingly at the things on the bench which were engaging his attention. These, innocent enough in appearance, still had in them somehow a suggestion of something weird and grotesque. They were little dolls, about 8 inches high. Voodoo dolls. We're doing voodoo dolls, apparently.
I wonder when we specific. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, no. So keep going. I'm correlating something here.
The sheen of their astonishingly lifelike faces suggested that they were made of wax, and they were so amazingly well sculptured that a glimpse revealed their likeness to living persons.
This is just Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Kinda. There were 4 of the little figures, clad like men, and any reporter or other person acquainted with the city's outstanding personalities would have recognized them as 4 of the nation's business titans. One of them was Walter P. Kessler.
Oh, shit.
Dr. Satan's red-gloved hand pulled a drawer open in the top of the bench. The supple... The supple fingers reached into the drawer, took from it 2 objects, and placed them on the bench.
Oh, yeah.
And now, there were 6 dolls on the bench, the last 2 being a man and a woman. The male doll was clad in a tiny blue serge. Its face was long-jawed, with gray chips for eyes, over which were heavy black brows. An image of Ascot Keen. The other one was a girl. It was Beatrice.
Yeah, pretty much.
The female doll was a likeness of a beautiful girl with coppery brown hair and deep blue eyes. Beatrice Dale. Yes! Dr. Satan's harsh, arrogant voice rasped out. The monkey-like small man with the hairy face hopped forward. The plate, said Dr. Satan. Garrus brought him a thick iron plate, which Dr. Satan set upon the bench. And I'm going to tag.
On the plate were 2 small, dark patches. Discolorations obviously made by the heat of something being burned there. The 2 little discolorations were all that was left of 2 little dolls that had been molded in the image of Marshall Varley and the comedian Croy. Dr. Satan placed the 2 dolls on the plate that he had taken from the drawer. The likenesses of Beatrice Dale and Ascot Keen. Kessler went to Keen, Dr. Satan rasped, the red mask over his face stirring angrily. We shall attend to Kessler after he is paid tonight. We shall not wait that long to care for Keen and the girl. 2 wires trailed over the bench from a wall socket. His red-gloved fingers twisted the wires to terminals set into the iron plate. The plate began to heat up. Keen has proved himself an unexpectedly competent adversary, Satan's voice droned out. With knowledge I thought no man on earth save myself possessed. We'll see if he can escape this fate and avoid becoming with his precious secretary, as Varley and Croy became. Small waves of heat began to shimmer up from the iron plate. It stirred the garments clothing the 2 little dolls. Dr. Satan's glittering eyes burned down on the mannequins. Garrus and the legless giant Bostith watched as he did.
2 things. That's a weird way of spelling mannequins.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
Number 2, I had this image in my head of like Dr. Satan in an insane asylum with like a hot plate, just burning little dolls and going, "Yes, yes, Keen will die now."
I was picturing that scene in Spaceballs with Dark Helmet. You know, Garrus and Bostith coming in and going, you know, he's like, "Did you see anything?" "Oh no, boss, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again." Good. When they leave, he's very certain. He pushes Beatrice over, opens the drawer, pulls out his own little doll of himself, and goes, "At last, Keen, we are alone."
He puts little wings on Keen, has him fly around.
He's like one of those. He's like one of those sky dancers. He pulls a little thing and it just flies through the air.
Round and round you go, my beautiful ballerina.
Wee.
Oh, look, he landed up there. Oh, that's fine. That's usually where he ends up. Watching me, always. I'm going to tag.
Okay. 59 stories above the pseudo-developing shop, Keen smiled soberly at Beatrice Dale. "I gotta fire you," he said. "Why on earth?" she gasped. "Because you're such a valuable right-hand man, and because you're such a fine person."
Letting her down easy, I see.
Paul! Paul, who talks like this, Paul?
Paul?
I'll tell you who talks like this. Ascot Keen, who sucks.
Okay, don't know what to do with that information. "Oh," Beatrice murmured. "I see. More fears for my safety? More fears for your safety," nodded Keen. Dr. Satan is out for your life as well as mine, my dear. And we've had this out many times before, Beatrice interrupted. And the answer is still no. I refuse to be fired, Ascott. Sorry. You can't fire me. I quit.
Quit. Seems I don't fit in.
Man, I wish I could pull that move.
Yeah.
We're letting you go, Alan. No, you're not.
No.
Well, all right.
Well, you make a really good case there. Okay, you can stay. And furthermore, I'm doubling your pay.
There was a glint in Keen's steel gray eyes that had nothing to do with business. Oh, I'm sure. But he didn't express his emotions. Yeah, correct. Beatrice watched his lips part with a breathless stirring in her heart. She had been waiting for some such expression for a long time. Oh, honey, move on.
Oh.
Like, come on. Ascott, Keen, really?
Have you realized how Beatrice, you're sitting right there. You know how thirsty he is for Dr. Satan. Like, come on.
But Keen only said, so be it. You're a brave person. I oughtn't to allow you to risk your life for this private deadly war that no one knows about. Yeah. No.
There it is again.
But I can't seem to make you desert, so that's that, said Beatrice crisply. Have you decided how you'll move against Dr. Satan tonight? Keen nodded. I made my plans when I first located him. You know where he is? Said Beatrice in amazement. I do. How did you find out? I didn't. I thought it out. I manifested it in my mind. That's where he is.
He's always in my mind palace.
The world's greatest investigator. Dr. Satan seems to have ways of knowing where I am. He must know I've located. I've located? Oh, I have located. Okay, technically correct, but weird. Here in the National State Building. The obvious thing for him to do would be to conceal himself on the other side of town. So, that being the expected thing, what would a person as clever as he is do? Pass.
I'm just fucking in love with the idea of, like, how did you find it out? I didn't. I just sat here and thought about it really hard.
That's how I solve most of my mysteries. I just think really hard in my comfy chair.
Or I would, but Dr. Satan burned that chair.
I just sat here writing Dr. Satan fan fiction until whatever seemed right happened.
I love the idea that he hasn't bought a new chair. And wherever he goes, he just has his desk and he doesn't sit down.
I like the idea that he, like, every time Beatrice walks in, he's, like, perched on the desk. Like, his fingers steepled in front of him. He's all, like, squatting on the desk, just sitting there. And she's just like, sir. And he just cracks his head around to look at her and goes, leave it here and then go. I'm in my mind palace. You know, also, we could go get a new chair, sir.
If I remember correctly, they're in an office that they made available to him in the National State Building.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it would be really funny if he was the kind of guy who insisted, no, I have to bring my desk. Like, if you're going to let me occupy this, I have to go get my desk. At least we're still in New York, so I don't have to fly it across the country this time.
Right.
Put it on the Science Friends tab.
Beatrice nodded. I see. Of course. He'd be right here in this building. But you told Kessler he was probably miles away, said Beatrice. I did. I lied.
Like I normally do to all these fucking Wallsteads.
I am a liar and Kessler will die. Oh, where did we settle on the bet of whether or not Kessler's going to die?
I think
he's not going to.
I think he's not going to die.
I'll take that action.
All right.
I say Kessler dies.
Okay.
Because I knew Kessler's character. If he knew the man who threatened him was in the building, he'd try to do something like organize a raid, pussy that he is. Fancy a police raid against Dr. Satan.
Yes.
So I lied and said he was probably a long distance off. Keen sighed. I'm afraid the lie was valueless.
Much like his life.
I can foretell pretty precisely what Kessler will do. He will have an army of men scattered through the building tonight, in spite of what I said. He will attempt to trace Dr. Satan through collection of the checks, and he will die. Beatrice shuddered. By burning? What a horrible way to... She stopped. What is it? Said Keen. Are these your woman emotions again? What is it? Said Keen urgently at the strained expression that suddenly molded her face. Nothing, I guess, replied Beatrice slowly. Power of suggestion, I suppose. When I said burning, I seemed to feel hot all over myself. Keen sprang from his chair. My God, why didn't you tell me at once? He stopped too, and his eyes narrowed to steely slits in his rugged face. Perspiration was studding his own forehead now. It's come, he said. But enough about this stain on my chair.
Fuck.
I'm a grown man.
Are any of us really, though?
It's come, he said. The attack on us by Satan. But it wasn't wholly unexpected. The suitcase in the corner. Get it and open it, quickly! Beatrice started toward the suitcase, but stopped and pressed her hands to her cheeks. Ascott, I'm burning up. Get that suitcase!
And my coffee.
Frankly, we're hot, but this coffee is lukewarm at best. Do it again.
You're fired.
You're fired.
I changed my mind. You're fired again. And
what's that? No? Yeah, you're right.
Fuck. Okay. Well, we got more important things to worry about right now. That's a tag. Okay. Keen sprang to the desk and opened the wide lower drawer. He took a paper-wrapped parcel from it, ripped it open. An odd array was disclosed. 2 pairs of things like cloth slippers, 2 pairs of badly proportioned gloves, 2 small, rounded sacks. Beatrice was struggling with the snaps on the suitcase. Both were breathing heavily now, dragging their arms as if they weighed tons. Ascott, I can't stand it.
Ascott, fucking do it yourself!
Yeah, seriously. No, you don't understand. This is woman's work. I can't stand it. I'm burning, panted the girl. You've got to stand it.
He's just standing there barking orders at her.
Remember, everybody, Ascott Keen is not the good guy. Ascott Keen is not the hero. You've got to stand it. Is the case open? Put on the smaller of the 2 garments there. Toss me the other.
We're playing dress up. It's the only thing we're going to do in our last moment.
Really? Why, wait, why are you dressing me up like Dr. Satan? Don't ask me questions! If we're going to die, we're going to do this correctly. The garments in question were 2 suits of unguessable material that were designed to fit tightly over a human body, an unclothed human body. Oh my. Beatrice tossed the larger of the 2 to Keen, who was divesting himself of his outer garments with rapid fingers. Ascott, I can't change into this here before.
It looks horrible.
I gotta think about my appearance. Damn modesty, grated Keen. Get into those things, you hear? Quickly! Both were no longer perspiring. Their faces were dry, feverish. Heat was radiating from their bodies in a stifling steam. Stream. Beatrice stood before Keen in the tight, single garment that covered body and arms and legs. These gloves on your hands, snapped Keen. The sack over your head. The shoes on your feet. Oh, God, panted Beatrice. These aren't my size. Then she had done as Keen commanded. From soles to hair, she was covered by the curious fabric Keen had devised, and the awful burning sensation was allayed. There were eye slits in the sacks they each wore. They stared at each other with eyes that were wide with a close view of death. Then Beatrice sighed shudderingly. Same thing Varley and Croy went through, she said. The same, said Keen. Poor fellows. And Dr. Satan thought he could deal with us the same doom. And he almost did, if we'd been a little farther away from these fabric shields of ours. How did they stop? Huh?
What?
Yeah. I mean, I think Beatrice raises a good point with, how do they stop Dr. Satan's weapon? Said Beatrice. How can he strike as he does from a distance? So, if you had opened that suitcase just a little slower, Beatrice.
So let me get this straight. They put weird, what I'm going to assume is just burlap sacks on their heads.
Basically, yeah.
And dress themselves up like fucking Freddy Fazbear. And that stops the magic. Okay.
Let's go with a different explanation. Let's go with Keen brought Keen already figured this out and brought suits that will counteract whatever Dr. Satan does.
Oh.
Let's
I see what you're getting at.
Let's look at the timeline of Keen's arrival. Because it's my understanding from what we've read so far that Keen has been on this case for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And he knows that Dr. Satan is in the same building as him.
He showed up to inspect the elevator and then went up to his office that they gave him at the building. And then he had a meeting with Kessler. And that's all that's happened so far.
Yep.
So he was like, well, better pack my not melting suit.
I've heard reports that people are melting to death. I wonder what could be causing it or how it could potentially stop it from happening to others. I'll pack 2.
Maybe. Are there like 40 other things in that briefcase he had as possible solution?
Did he not? He's just. But Ascot, why couldn't you get this one for Kessler? Are you kidding? I don't have one in Kessler's size. Have you seen Kessler?
Why couldn't you get one for Kessler? Who?
Beatrice size.
The guy we just had a meeting. The guy we just had a meeting with.
What?
Wallstead. No.
No.
Wallstead's dead. I know, Keen. I can't go back in time, Beatrice.
Science friend? No. We just had a meeting with him. We just talked about him. Bostiff.
Beatrice's size. So I quit. Ascot, I quit right now.
By the way, they have sex on their heads as they're talking to one another.
Yeah, this is all happening
in my head. I'm waiting for someone to walk in and be like, what the fuck are you two doing? Get out! This is science!
I didn't picture it as burlap first, and all I had in my head is the scene in The Naked Gun where they put on the full body condoms.
I'm gonna tag after that. How can he strike as he does from a distance?
All right. His weapon and this fabric I made, said Keen, go back a long way beyond history to the priesthood serving the ancestors of the Cretans. They forged the weapon in wizardry and at the same time devised the fabric to wear as protection against their enemies, who must inevitably learn the secret of the weapon too. It is the father of the modern voodoo practice of making a crude image of an enemy and sticking pins into it. I own these. I have these. How?
How does it that Dr. Satan has the exact same thing? Like, he just...
Did they just go to boarding school together? Like...
What if that's the twist?
Yeah.
They must know each other at this point. Like, well, this is too coincidental.
I bet Keen's... It's going to be the last reveal. We're going to finally find out who Dr. Satan's real name is, and Keen will just be like, I've known the whole time.
Okay.
It's me, Ascot Keen.
Are you guys ready for me to spoil something for you that's going to save us a lot of disappointment in the future?
Yeah, sure. Just go for it.
I read an article about Dr. Satan trying to get some insight into, this.
Paul's mind.
We are never getting a reveal of who Dr. Satan is.
Oh, fuck off.
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I don't care.
We should decide who Dr. Satan is.
I'm here for the ride, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't need it revealed because, like, who could it possibly be that would be like satisfying? This character is too large. It's larger than life.
Fair. That's fair. No, but I don't know. I mean, maybe letting the mystery be. Maybe it just depends on how the conclusion is. It just cracks me up thinking about the fact that they've both collected all of this. Did Ascot just had these like fireproof, wax melting proof suits in his collection of weird occult like thrift store finds? Basically,
imagine TSA going through their luggage, like things you can't do this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
He drew a long breath. A small image is made in the likeness of the person to be destroyed. The image is made of substance pervious, like impervious.
It's the opposite of impervious. It's pervious. So
interesting.
It means it's vulnerable.
Yeah. pervious to fire. In the cases of Croy and Varley, I should say, after descriptions of how they perished, of wax. The image is then burned, and the person in whose likeness it is cast burns to nothingness as the image does, if the manipulator knows the secret incantations of the Cretans, as Dr. Satan does. But I'll give you more than an explanation. I'll give you a demonstration. For we are going to strike back at Dr. Satan in a manner I think he will be utterly unprepared for.
We're going to set that bitch on fire.
Likes it. He went to the open suitcase, looking like a being from another planet in the ill-fitting garments. He looked weird as shit. He had thrown together after analyzing Varley's death. Thrown together! Wait! So...
what?
Wait!
How did you know?
How did you know how to protect against a spell? I didn't. I just threw some shit on me and hoped it worked. You too. Sorry about that.
Beatrice, I need to go to Joanne's Fabrics right now.
See if they have ancient Cretan fabric.
I need the specific, only in this specific weed and this weave and this many bolts.
I knowing Joanne's, they'd have it.
They probably would.
He took from the suitcase a thing that looked like a little doll. It was an image of a monkey-like man. Don't you dare!
No!
With a face and long simian arms.
Time out. Hold on. No. Wait. Hold on. I have to check something right now.
Okay.
Are we where we thought we were?
I hope no.
Because no!
Oh, no!
No! Oh, one after the other?
You guys...
God damn it.
We are in the order we thought we were.
This
Gerst has already been killed.
I just couldn't. It's not real. It can't be real to me.
Paul just forgot he killed Gerst.
unless, wait, no.
Hold on. No, unless Dr. Satan, I guess Gerst just had another guy.
Let's keep reading. Oh, I think this is about to happen. Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm passing.
All we know is I just checked.
The
story is in order.
In which issue does Gerst die?
He died. Okay, it was the one before this one. It was
four.
It was the Consuming Flame.
Yeah,
which is the one before this one.
Sorry, I need to check this for myself now too.
Yeah, me too.
Not that I don't. I'm not doubting you here.
Sorry, intermission, everybody.
Seriously.
Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Satan, the Man Who Chained the Lightning, Hollywood Horror, and the Consuming Flame. That was November of 1935. This is January of 1936. Horror Insured. Gerst died in the Consuming Flame. We watched him die, and we heard Dr. Satan exclaim, "I will avenge myself of my man Gerst." I thought that was going to be some good character development, but here's Gerst, like nothing happened and no one remembering.
No.
And it's not going to get addressed, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay, no, I'm looking at the exact paragraph. In issue 4, before this one. Did he bring Gerst back from death?
Does Dr. Satan have... Okay, there is a thing we're not addressing in that it is Dr. Satan.
Yeah,
true.
He can do necromancy as a free action.
We've seen him do it.
Yeah, he's got he might have fucking backup clone Gerses.
Probably. Interesting.
All right, Gerst number 2, it's your time to shine.
But then why would he say he would avenge him if he's a clone?
I'll avenge the first Gerst with the second Gerst.
Whew.
So I hope we're all enjoying Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Gerses.
The twin Gerses.
We don't... Okay. I was about to say we don't know that Gerst dies now, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Gerst is already supposed to be dead. Where the fuck are we?
How hideous! Exclaimed Beatrice.
Yeah.
Is it me or what's going on?
It's you. Yeah, it's
okay.
you.
How hideous, exclaimed Beatrice. Not as hideous externally as internally, said Keen. This is a likeness of a creature named Gurs, one of Satan's followers, who is only prevented from being as fiendish as Satan by lack of genius for it.
Jesus, Keen.
Catty bitch. All right.
Also, Beatrice, much like everybody else, you have amnesia. You clearly never met him, even though he kidnapped you last.
I wish it were the image of Satan himself, but that would be useless. Satan, using the ancient death, would be prepared for it himself. What the fuck are you talking about?
What?
It's made of wax, said Beatrice, understanding and awe beginning to glint in her eyes. Made of wax? Keen nodded. How about that?
Holy shit.
He looked around the office, saw no metal tray to put the little doll on, and flipped back a corner of the rug. The floor of the office was of smooth cement. He set the image on the cement. With her hand to her breast, Beatrice watched. The proceeding, seeming inconsequential in itself, had an air of deadliness about it that stopped the breath in her throat. Keep in mind, both these people are wearing fucking outfits.
Yeah, they're just. This is the most like black and white sci-fi, weird sci-fi image I could think of.
I want fucking anyone else to walk into this room right now.
So bad.
Oh my god.
Especially the guy who contacted Keen. I want him to walk into this room like, oh, so you're fucking crazy.
He looks at like, so Keen, is this a sex thing? Or
Keen looked around. Don't look! You're ruining it!
Don't look at me!
Beatrice is just confused.
Keen looked around the office again, then strode to the clothes he and Beatrice had flung to the floor in their haste a moment ago. Sorry, he said, taking her garments with his own and piling them on the cement. We'll have to send down to Fifth Avenue for more clothes to be brought here. I need these now.
No!
Why? Why?
For the Gurs fire.
But why? I'm confused. Did Keen prepare for this or not?
Yes, I just happen to carry a wax likeness of Gurs everywhere I go.
The idea that this is Keen's version of winging it is insane.
Keen would. Everything's winging it for Keen, though. He's a Birdman.
Ascott Keen as like MacGyver.
Oh yeah, MacGyver ripped this off too.
All right. All right, I have a plan. Open my briefcase where I have a wax model of the guy who's trying to kill us.
But you
But
Keen, you don't have a wax model of Dr. Satan. I know I had to improvise. Here's a perfect wax model of Gurs instead.
On the pile of cloth, he placed the image of Gurs. Then he touched a match to the fabric. Here we go.
Here we go. Ooh, I gotta breathe. Ooh. Is it me now? Or sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tagging.
Okay, fair. In the developing room, Dr. Satan fairly spat his rage as he stared at the two wax dolls on the red-hot iron plate. The dolls were not burning, defying all the laws of physics and, as far as Satan knew, of wizardry. The waxen images were standing unharmed on the metal that should have consumed them utterly. Damn him! Dr. Satan rasped, gloved hands clenching. Damn him! He has escaped again! Though how? He heard breathing begin to sound stertorously behind him, beside him. His eyes suddenly widened with incredulity behind the eye holes of his mask. He whirled. Gurs was staring at him with frenzy and horror in his cruel little eyes. The breath was tearing from his corded throat as though each would be his last. Master! He gasped imploringly. Dr. Satan, stop! The skin on his face and hands, dry and feverish looking, suddenly began to crack. Stop the burning! He pleaded in a shrill scream. But Dr. Satan could only clench his hands and curse, raspingly, impotently. He had never dreamed of such a possibility, was utterly unprepared for it. Gurs shrieked again and fell to the floor. Then his scream stopped. He was dead again. But his body... Just let me You'll know you'll know why. His body moved on, jerking and twisting as a tight-rolled bit of paper twists and jerks in consuming fire. Keen! Whispered Dr. Satan. No. Staring at the floor, where a discolored spot was all that remained of his fellow follower. His eyes were frightful. By the devil, my master! He'll pay for that 1,000 times over!
Again!
With compounding interest.
Is Paul just retconning the events of the consuming?
I don't know. Did he forget he killed Gerst, thought he killed Bostiff, and just killed Gerst twice?
Bostiff is still there!
Watch
it, the next one, Monroe is there.
And the last one, Walstead descends from heaven with little angel wings. And a harp.
Oh my god. Oh, shit. Okay, Gerst. That was an even worse send-off for Gerst. At least the last time he died, it was really dramatic.
Yeah, this was just kind of, he lit on fire and died.
Fuck.
Weird.
Should I keep going? Because we're at chapter 4 now.
Up to you.
I'll tag just to keep it consistent.
Part 4, The Screaming Three. At 12:30 that night, a solitary figure walked along the north side of the National State Building. The north side was the one that the Lucian, photographic supplies shop faced on, the side street. It was deserted, save for the lone man. The man slowed his pace as he saw a shining object hanging from the building wall, about waist high. Oh, that's right. They're sending down a silver skull to collect the checks in.
That's right. For Lucifex Insurance Company.
A few yards ahead of him.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. He clenched his hands, then took out the handkerchief and wiped his forehead.
I'm going to call it right now.
Yeah.
This is actually just Keen in another disguise.
That man was Walter P. Kessler.
Keen in a fat suit.
It might be. You never know. And the flourish of the white handkerchief in the dimness of the street was a signal. Across the street, 4 floors up, in a warehouse, a man with a private detective's badge in his pocket put a pair of binoculars to his eyes. He watched Kessler, saw the shining object he was approaching, and nodded. Kessler drew from his pocket an unaddressed envelope. In it were 10 checks made out to the Lucifex Insurance Company. He grasped the receptacle for the checks in his left hand. The receptacle was a cleverly molded skull of silver, about 2/3 life size. There was a hole in the top of it. Kessler thrust... This is Dr. Satan's piggy bank. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Kessler thrust the envelope securely into the hole. The skull began to rise up the building wall towards some unguessable spot in the tremendous cliff formed by 79 stories of cut stone. We couldn't guess. Every building's made into stories, but we couldn't guess, or watch or anything. Across the street, The man with binoculars managed at last to spot the thin wire from which the silver skull was suspended. He followed it up with his gaze. Pass.
It came from a window almost at the top of the building. The man grasped a phone at his elbow. He did not dial operator. The phone had a direct line to the building across the way. He simply picked up the receiver and said softly, 72nd floor, 18th window from the east wall. Pop it.
Twist it.
Pull
Don't drop it.
In the National State Building, a man at an improvised switchboard on the ground floor turned to another. 72nd floor, 18th window from the east. Get everybody. The second man ran toward the night elevator. He went from floor to floor. At each floor, he opened the door and signaled. And on each floor, 2 men, who had been watching the corridors along the north side, ran silently toward the other local elevators, which had shaft doors on every floor all the way up to the top. At the same time, a third man, at the stairs, drew his gun as he prepared to guard more carefully yet the staircase, rarely used, threading up beside the shafts. And on the ground floor, within 50 yards of the man at the switchboard, a chuckle came from the masked lips of a red-robed figure, who stood straight and tall in a red-lit room, smiling though still very sad about his dead henchman. Across the street, the man with the binoculars suddenly picked up the phone again. Damn it, they tricked us. Somebody took the money in on the 63rd floor. Changed orders vibrated through the great building, and the red-robed figure in the room at the heart of the maze chuckled again, and moved toward the bench. Dr. Satan picked up one of the dolls remaining there. It was the image of Kessler. He placed it on the iron plate, which was already heated by the wires trailing from the socket. He watched the little doll broodingly. It writhed and twisted as the heat melted its wax feet. It fell to the plate, and from the street far away sounded a horrible scream. Who wins?
You win.
Wow, that was really underwhelming.
Yeah.
Dr. Oh, we've already in detail watched like 3 people get melted.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. But I'm also kind of disappointed because, here once again, this is Keen just allowed this man to die.
Yeah.
Wait, couldn't he just give him the outfit? Is he still wearing it? God damn it!
There wasn't enough fabric at Joann's.
Is he going to confront Dr. Satan with the sack on his head?
I hope so.
Ah!
Oh, God.
Dr. Satan's...
Is this a story where Paul finally burns his goodwill with us?
Dr. Satan's head jerked back as if the shriek were music to his ears. Then once more, his hissing chuckle sounded out. For disobeying commands, my friend, he muttered. But I knew you'd be obstinate enough to try it. He stopped. For a second, he stood as rigid as a statue swathed in red. Then slowly, he turned, and in his coal-black blazing eyes was fury and fear. All right, tagging.
Okay. I just want to say, Dr. Satan, now that he knew that Keen, he knows that Keen has a way to ward this off. Why wasn't his next priority immediately, Keen is here. I need to he killed Gers again. I need to find him and stop him. He doesn't know how to prioritize anything, Dr. Satan. Oh my God. There was an inner door to the developing room, but the door was locked, and it still stood locked. It had not been touched. Neither had the outer door. Yet in that room, where the red-robed figure was another figure now, that of Ascott Keen. He stood as rigid as Dr. Satan himself, giggity, and stared at his adversary out of steel-gray level level eyes. It seems we are alone, Keen said slowly.
Finally!
I always knew I'd meet you in a red light district.
It seems Bostiff, I suppose, is retrieving the money from Kessler. And Gers, where is he?
Oh, snap.
You bitch.
Oh.
You absolute bitch.
A third Gers appears and goes, remember when you tried to kill me twice?
And Gers, where is he? That's right. He's dead, like all of the people I was supposed to protect.
He's as dead as Kessler.
Dead. Kessler, dead.
That one studio executive, still a skeleton.
I am the worst.
You're probably wondering how I can teleport, Dr. Satan. Well...
Is this why no one knows about me, Keen? Yeah, I'm actually kind of embarrassed about how bad I am. Ha ha, fuck you! Dr. Satan's snarl was the only answer. He moved toward Keen, red swathed hands clenching as he came. Keen... I just didn't really... Okay, Keen stood
I wasn't prepared for this.
I've been imagining this in my mind's eye for so long. Satan stopped. How? He grated. Surely you do not need to ask that, said Keen. You must have penetrated the secret of transferring substance, including your own, from one place to another by sheer power of thought. I have not, rasped Dr. Satan. Nor have you.
Did he? Is Keen saying he teleported?
He teleported with some special powder and then thought really hard about it. It's what he just said.
Dr. Ascott Keen just said, I have higher level in wizard than you. I can now cast Dimension Door.
Oh.
I am here. ... Paul.
Now.
Paul.
I just gave Keen the ability to teleport. No, it's not going to matter after this. You discovered my hiding place and hid here while I was out a short time ago. Keen's smile was a deadly thing. Perhaps I did. Perhaps not. You can provide your own answer. The only thing of importance is that I am here and shall stay here. Dr. Satan's harsh voice rang out. The fear was fading from his eyes and leaving only fury there. You have interfered with my plans once too often, Keen. As he spoke, he raised his right hand, with the thumb and forefinger forming an odd, eerie angle. I'm double-jointed! Out of the everywhere, into the here, he quoted softly. I have servants more powerful than Gers, whom you destroyed, Ascot Keen. One comes now to your own destruction. I will pass.
As he spoke, a strange tensity seized the air of the dim room. Keen paled a little at the blaze in the coal-black eyes. His heart fluttered. Now, then he stared suddenly at a spot in thin air to Dr. Satan's right. Something was happening there. The air was shimmering as though it danced over an open fire. It wavered, grew misty, swayed in a sinuous column. Out of the everywhere, into the here! Dr. Satan's voice was harsh with final triumph. The old legends had a basis, Keen. The tales of dragons. There was such a thing, is such a thing. Only the creations the ancients called dragons do not ordinarily roam the earth in visible form. The sinuous misty column at the right of the red-robed form was materializing into a thing to stagger a man's reason. Keen found himself... Go ahead.
So...
he's just going to summon a fucking dragon. Why not?
I hadn't thought about... Imagine, Keen. Imagine dragons.
I hadn't thought about the picture attached to this story in a long time.
Yeah, we got real derailed on the what the fuckery of everything else.
Yeah.
I had to scroll back up because there were people melting and Gers dying a second time.
Sacks on heads.
And people dressing in burlap, full-body burlap costumes. But the picture attached to this story is Dr. Satan riding a giant lizard.
Yeah.
And just... We're near the end of the story.
We are near...
They're in a tiny room, by the way. They're in like a basement.
Well, it doesn't matter. They could be anywhere. They could be in a hallway 2 feet apart, but Dr. Satan is basically just saying, there's no running from a trainer battle, and is pulling out his card. Exactly where my head was at. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hope that syncs on, Mike. That's going to be great.
I hope it does, too. Future Maureen, can you put the Pokemon battle music, in here, right after that? Just for a little bit.
Keen found himself gazing at a shimmering figure that looked like a great lizard, save that it was larger than any lizard and had smaller legs. It was almost like a snake with legs, but it was a snake 2 feet through at its thickest part, and only about 14 feet long, which is not typical serpentine proportion. Paul,
thank you,
I don't need a biology lesson right now.
Thanks, Paul.
Cool.
Appreciate it, Paul.
More than any other story, I think Paul is zooted as fuck for this one.
I think Paul got a little too tipsy. There were vestigial stubs of wings spreading from its trunk about a yard back of its great triangular head, and it had eyes such as no true lizard ever had, 8 inches across and glittering like evil gems. A dragon, Keen! Dr. Satan purred.
I swear I saw a dragon!
You have seen old pictures of some such things, painted by artists who had caught a glimpse of these things that can only visit Earth when some necromancer conjures them to. A mythical creature, Keen. But you shall feel how mythical it is when it attacks you, bitch! And I will pass.
Paul, did you write yourself into a corner?
Not even a corner if you just forget a major thing that you did 1 issue ago.
And then it gets published.
It's like, all right, I got Dr. Satan and Ascot Keen into a room. Now what? I mean, there's the thing I want them to do, but I can't do that.
What's a good metaphor for real gay sex? Dragon. Yeah, that'll work.
A very big reptile, like a snake. There it is. It's hot for you, Keen. That's why it's a dragon.
A hiss sounded in the dim room. The serpentine form was so solidly materialized now that it could scarcely be seen through. And in a few more seconds, it was opaque. And weighty.
Boy, howdy. Gee willikers.
It's long, it's strong, it's down to get the friction on.
So sprung.
Satan's got back.
The floor quivered a little as it moved toward Keen.
Keen quivered a little as it moved toward him.
Its great gem-like eyes glinted like colored glass as it advanced foot by foot. on the man who had pitted himself against Dr. Satan till the death of one of them should end the bitter war. But Keen did not move. He stood with shoulders squared and arms at his sides, facing the red-robed form. "Out of the everywhere, into the here," he murmured. His lips were pale, but his voice was calm. "There is another saying, Dr. Satan. It's a little different. Out of the hereafter, into the here."
Oh, no.
Paul, what are we doing?
Oh, no.
Paul.
Are you summoning an angel? What is happening?
I haven't read ahead. Keen's gonna start summoning some fucking ghosts. He's gonna
We
summon
actually
the ghosts.
having a fucking Pokemon battle?
Keen's got his ghost types against this dragon type.
The unbelievable thing Dr. Satan had called into being in the midst of a city that would have scoffed at the idea of its existence suddenly halted its slow, deadly approach toward Keen. Its hiss sounded again, and it raised a taloned foot and clawed the thin air in a direction to Keen's left. It retreated a step, slinking low to the floor, its talons and scales rattling on the smooth cement. It seemed to see something beyond the reach of mortal eyes. But in a moment, the things it saw were perceptible to the eyes of the two men, too. And as Dr. Satan saw them, an imprecation came from his masked lips. Three figures, distorted, horrible, yet familiar. Three things like statues of mist that became less misty and more solid-seeming by the second. Three men who writhed as though in mortal torment, and whose lips jerked with soundless shrieks, which gradually became not entirely soundless, but came to the ears of Satan and Keen, like far-off cries dimly heard. And the three were Varley and Croy and Kessler. Wow.
I have a theory.
What?
Keen is letting these people die so he can summon their ghosts later. This is true of everybody he's met so far. Keen can summon an army of ghosts, and only he does this now?
So Keen
He's just
can
collecting ghosts like Pokemon.
Keen can resurrect someone who died 30 seconds ago, but doesn't have the forethought to lend him the fireproof suit or make another one.
My argument here is he did have the forethought, and he just didn't fucking bother because he wanted to have the Kessler ghost in his collection.
Also,
he's not the good guy.
How does he keep getting work?
Okay.
Because he's rich. He's a playboy.
So many things flooding my skull at this moment. Like, this has to be some form of trickery, right?
I'm assuming. I don't even think Keen's actually there, because that sounds like a trick. He's got to be illusory or something.
Dr. Satan, like, tripping balls on peyote and imagining this encounter right now alone?
Did any of this actually happen, or was this all a fever dream of Dr. Satan? And he wakes up after that fire in the last chapter and goes, "Oh, wait, I almost died, and Gers is still dead." Shit.
But the other thing is, if Keen is bringing back the ghosts of people Dr. Satan killed, why just those three people?
Also, wouldn't they be really pissed at Keen?
This could be like the fucking undead army from the end of Lord of the Rings.
That's what I'm fucking saying. Oh my god. Imagine. Oh no, he's like. Wait, those are just his first three. They come. Satan defeats him. He's like, "Oh yeah, you ready for this?" Wallstead appears.
And also, of all those people to bring back, why would they be on Keen's side?
Yeah, I'd be fucking pissed. Take one look and go, nope, and turn around. Go back to the afterlife.
Oh look, it's the jackoff who got us all killed.
Well, especially Kessler.
Yeah.
He just died. He just died.
He died, 5 minutes ago? Less than that?
Less than that. He died, and then Keen showed up.
Kessler's back and hasn't even had time to process that he's dead yet.
Seriously, he's probably super confused going, wait, what, huh?
The other two are writhing in agony and mortal torment because they've been, burned to death, and they've had time to process that. He's probably just what?
Anyway.
What?
Anyway,
this is the dumbest one.
It's the dumbest one.
This is the
sloppiest one.
The other ones were dumb in a fun way. This is dumb in a
This is I don't understand what's happening.
Paul, why? How could you do this to us, Paul? Should let's let the Pokemon battle continue? Yeah.
If it was me, I'm tagging out.
Okay. A gasp from Doctor came from. A gasp came from Dr. Satan's concealed lips. He shrank back, even as the monstrosity he had called into earthly being shrank back. Out of the hereafter, into the here, Keen said softly. These 3 you killed, Dr. Satan. They will now kill you. Varley and Croy and Kessler advanced on the red-robed form. As they came, they screamed with the pain of burning, and their blackened hands advanced with fingers flexed towards Satan. Such hatred was in their dead, glazed eyes that waves of it seemed to surge about the room like a river or in a flood. Their shades... No, sorry, wrong person. Their shades, panted Dr. Satan. They're not real. They can't actually do harm. You will see how real they are when they attack you, Keen paraphrased Satan's words. The 3 screaming figures converged on Dr. Satan. From death they had come, and before them was the man who had sent them to death. Behind them was the man who had actually sent them to death.
Behind is the one that assisted as a co-conspirator.
But behind them is the one they actually want to kill, but they are enslaved to his will now because he pulled them out of the fucking afterlife, adding insult to injury. Their eyes were wells of fury and despair. My God, whispered Dr. Satan, cowering. No. And the words, though far from lightly uttered, seemed doubly blasphemous coming from the lips under the diabolical red mask. The hissing of the dragon thing he had called into existence was inaudible. Its form was hardly to be seen. It didn't even get to do anything. It was flaming back into whatever realm it had come from. But the Screaming 3 were advancing even further into our earthly plane as they crept toward the cowering body of Dr. Satan. My God, Satan cried. Not that! Not deliverance at the hands of those I... The 3 leaped, and Keen, with his face white as death at the horror he was witnessing, knew that the fight between him and the incarnate evil known as Dr. Satan was to end in this room. The 3 leaped down... The 3 leaped, and the red-robed figure went down.
Did the 3 leap? Did the 3 leap? The three have leapt like 4 times now.
The 3 leaped.
They're bunny hopping.
Da, 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 da. There was a thunderous battering at the door, and the bellow of men outside. Open up in the name of the law! Keen cried out, as though knife blades had been thrust under his nails. Dr. Satan screamed and thrust away from the 3 Furies, while the 3 themselves mouthed and swayed like birds of prey in indecision over a field in which hunters bristle suddenly. Open this door, the voice thundered again. We know there's somebody in here. The shock of the change from the occult and unreal back to prosaic living was like the shock of being rudely waked from a sound sleep when one has walked to the brink of a cliff and opens dazed eyes to stare at destruction. The introduction of such a thing as police, detectives, into a scene where 2 men were evoking powers beyond the ability of the average mortal even to comprehend was like the insertion of an iron club into the intricate and fragile mechanism of a radio transmitting station. So they get rudely interrupted and they're just like, what the fuck?
Hey, we're doing something in here.
Do you mind?
The door was locked for a reason.
We put a sock on the doorknob. Everyone knows what that means.
If they leave, can we? No. The mood's just been killed, Keen. We can't. Maybe next week. Well, I'm sorry. It's all fine. I'll just get another Gurse and we'll work it out. Okay.
Hey, where's Bostiff? Fuck it. Whatever. Not even in the story.
Cut to the office upstairs. Door opens. Beatrice walks out, giggling, arm in arm with Bostiff, and she's like, "Oh, you're such a gentleman."
Got their nails painted.
Yeah. Just like, oh yeah.
Or he's just fucking working the mailroom at the office building.
Yeah, there it is. Oh my God. I'm gonna tag. I think. Yeah, I'll tag. I'll tag you.
Keen literally staggered, like actually literally staggered, you guys. Oh my God, literally. Then he shouted, "For God's sake, get away from that door! Open up or we'll break in!" The bellowing voice overrode his own. Keen cursed and turned. The 3 revengeful forces he had evoked for the destruction of Dr. Satan were gone, shattered into non-existence again with the advance of the prosaic. In Dr. Satan, Keen got one glimpse of a torn red robe with clots of deeper crimson on its arm, as the man slid through the inner door of the room and out to God knew where. Presumably outside, but okay.
Yeah.
Some retreat he had prepared in advance. Oh no, that's that like door that like was locked in. Yeah, okay.
His escape hatch.
Dimension door. It's a dimension door.
Yep.
And then the door crashed down, and the men Kessler had stubbornly and ruinously retained in his fight with Dr. Satan burst in. They charged toward Keen. You're under arrest for extortion. You just played yourself, you stupid asshole.
I'm also just imagining Dr. Satan jumping down a laundry chute right now.
A dumbwaiter.
Oh, yes.
The leader, a bull-necked man with a gun in his hand, roared out. We traced the guy that took the dough from the skull here before we lost him. Keen only looked at him, and at something in his stare, though. The detective did not know him from Adam. He wilted a little. God, it's really poor scan here. That was tough.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Stick out your hands while I handcuff you, he tried to bluster. Then the manager of the building ran in. Did you get him? He called to the detective. Was he in here? He saw the man the detective proposed to handcuff. Keen, what has happened? Dr. Satan has escaped, said Keen. That was what happened. I had him. He held his hand out and slowly closed it. Like that. Then these well-intentioned blunderers broke in and... His voice broke. His shoulders sagged. He stared at the door through which the red-robed figure had gone. Then his body straightened and his eyes grew calm again, though they were bleak with a weariness going far beyond physical fatigue. Gone, he said, more to himself than to anyone in the red-lit room. But I'll find him again, and next time I'll fight him in some place where no outside interference can save him. My bedroom.
Defeat!
Okay. We have to have a very serious talk now.
Okay.
About the fact that, like, everything that's previously happened in Dr. Satan's stories have, like, they were supernatural, but only went to a certain length.
Yeah.
Like, there is a thing they were always, like, kind of butting up against that they weren't going to go past.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Like,
I think we all may have been anticipating some explanation of, like, the flim-flammery of what was happening at the end there.
Yeah.
But without a proper explanation, which this story doesn't give us, it looks now like Dr. Satan can just summon a giant dragon, and Ascott Keen can summon the spirits of the dead to assist him.
And, like, we know that, like, they can both read minds, for example, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
But this one just felt so phoned in.
Oh, it did.
Like, we're burning people again. It's, I don't know, voodoo, but it's not voodoo because it's from the Isle of Crete.
The explanation is basically the same one from the Death Shrub from the first Dr. Satan story. It was ancient Egyptian fire magic, and we have this magic paste I put on my shoes so I don't get burned alive, because the ancient priests found the countermeasure for this measure. It's the same fucking thing.
And I can't even, I was thinking maybe this was, like, the original first entry, and he, like, said, no, I can do a better one and retool it. But why would Gerst die in the first entry? Like, I don't get it.
And
is this a weirdly repurposed pilot episode? Like,
strange.
There is a dragon fighting the undead.
But they didn't even fight.
No, nothing happened.
Nothing of substance happened. And then a bunch of people broke their concentration.
One of the other stories we read hinged on the position of a clock on someone's desk.
And that shit is dumb. But it was funny.
I guess they finally got in a room alone together and were just like, fuck it. All cards on the table.
They revealed the extent of their necromancy to each other.
This begs the next question of, like, where does Paul go from here?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. The next one is going to be Beyond Death's Gateway.
Oh, good Lord.
He has a couple months to write it, because we go from January of 1936 to March of 1936. You know what? The first four were August, September, October, November. So he must have wrote these all in one sitting. That's why they feel so much more complete. This is disjointed as fuck. Watch, Gerst is just going to be back in the next story too, like nothing happened.
I swear to God. I swear to God if he is.
Paul.
Oh.
Paul. We're worried about you, Paul. Posthumously. Okay, well, you know what? Doesn't make me want to read the others any less, but I think...
They can't all be winners.
No, we were bound to hit a dud at some point, and yeah, this one was all over the place.
It was Paul over the place.
Also, fun fact in this issue of Weird Tales that we're reading is also a reprint of Dagon.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So good they printed it twice.
It was so nice. They turned us into fish people twice. I will give this a 3 angry ghosts out of 79 floors of the northern, or is it national building?
I'm going to give it nothing because, Paul, I want to see you after class.
I'll give it a Kessler out of a possible Wallstead.
Well, you got one thing going for you, though. Kessler did die, so you win the bet.
I did win, but at what cost?
In the most off-screen manner possible.
I'm just imagining Keen busting into the room to stop Dr. Satan, and Dr. Satan being like, "Wait, did Kessler die? Oh, yeah."
Okay, good.
At least I got that out of the way.
I didn't even try.
Still got his fucking money. This is the part where I would normally plug a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, we have some other stuff. It's on the Creative Horror Network, creativehorror.com, or on our YouTube channel, Creative Horror. You're probably listening to one of those two places, or maybe on your preferred podcast out. If so, thank you. We appreciate your patronage. Glad you're enjoying the show. Hope you're enjoying it more than we did.
New Jameson tapes probably before the end of January.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. What are you watching?
We watched Pontypool.
Mm-hmm.
Pontypool.
If you want to know anything about it or what it's about, there's going to be a whole episode. So
yeah, There we go. Go do that. Hey, you can also support our Patreon too. Patreon.com/creative horror. We have some stuff there that you can check out. Lots of extra stuff, lots of backlog stuff. It's only available for our patrons, including dregs, which there were so many dregs from the previous episode. We have more of those and not a lot of dregs from this one, if any at all. So yeah, go enjoy that. And yeah, it's a tough world out there, but you know.
Hey, Future Maureen, things are a little tough right now for everybody around.
Literally everyone ever.
So for some degree of a return to normalcy, or whatever we could consider being normal. Maureen, could you play Six Underground?
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of creativehorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at creativehorror.com.